Commence primary ignition.
This is the way. This is the way. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to yet again another episode of Mando Talk. This week here on Mando Talk, well, not this week because, you know, we do this bi-weekly now. Tuesday, live, what we're doing is the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3 predictions. Now, that is YouTube exclusive, though, so if you're listening on podcast platforms, make sure you hop on over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to us there and check us out there and try to block in that hour slot, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays, to hang out with us to talk chapter predictions of the Book of Boba Fett. And we got some predictions here for chapter 3, but we're going to hold off on that, and we are going to do some Star Wars news report as we always do, or what we're going to start doing here on Tuesdays with the Book of Boba Fett going on. It's really just going to be about 10 to 15-ish minutes, give or take. You know, we always take more than we give. We usually go a little bit over.
Very accurate.
Joining me is DJ Foster himself at Rebel Scum Texan on Twitter. Follow him there. He's always sending out fun and interesting and good tweets. DJ, what's up?
I do my best. I'll say that. I do my best to have fun and interesting thoughts on Twitter. All I've thought about for the last now 6 days, almost 7 days, has just been, I want to ride a bantha, and then I want to ride a speeder like a bantha. That's all I've thought about. Like a bantha. That's all I've thought about it. It's the one thing I keep seeing over and over again everywhere.
Rightfully so. It needs to be a t-shirt everywhere.
Listen, I just keep waiting for as soon as it happened, I was like, where are the GIFs? Where are those GIFs? And
yeah.
And I do pronounce it GIF because I believe the G stands for graphic. And so I go with GIF.
Fun fact.
Either way, well, hey, like I said, that's just a snippet of the things you get when you follow Rebel Scum Texan on Twitter.
There you go.
I don't talk about that kind of stuff, but I do like to talk about Star Wars, and I love to talk about Boba Fett and all the good news and sometimes the bad news that comes out about Star Wars. So I think we're going to be diving into a little bit of those tonight.
We got some good news, but we do unfortunately have one bad news piece to report real quickly. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. And the first thing that we are actually going to hit is some video game news. I'm just going to run through this. DJ, I'll then pass it to you to kind of share your thoughts, and then we'll kind of conversate that route. So video game news. A look at the rumored Jedi Fallen Order sequel is expected to be released at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim this May. The Jedi Fallen Order sequel will receive a new subtitle and is expected to release in late 2022 or pushed to 2023. We're still kind of unsure about the date. The Knights of the Old Republic remake is expected to release in 2023. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait for that one. And the long-awaited Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is expected to release in April or May of 2022, and all of this comes from the great source of Bespin Bulletin. First thing that I feel the need to discuss is Jedi Fallen Order. That first game was incredible. They need to hop back on this real quick because the momentum from the first one was great. I can't wait for the sequel. I was very interested to see Bespin Bulletin mention that it's going to get a new subtitle, like it's going to be Jedi : and then a new title. I love that. I believe that's actually something that I maybe had mentioned with Zach whenever he was on the show, whenever we were kind of discussing this initial rumor or report that we were getting a sequel. So I'm glad to see that. I hope maybe it's more dark-sidey. Who knows? We'll see. But obviously, Knights of the Old Republic remake is very interesting too. But DJ, what do you think of all this stuff? Great stuff going on in the gaming industry as far as Star Wars goes, especially for Star Wars fans. We're getting a lot of good stuff. What do you think?
It's nice to, get a little bit of an update. We're so close to Celebration. I'm surprised they didn't just hold out a little longer. I think Celebration's in May. So, I mean, unless it, gets shut down or something, which hopefully not, because then we got to wait that much longer for news releases. So, hopefully that doesn't happen, but I love it. I mean, it's great stuff. I didn't particularly, I wasn't like overjoyed with everything in Fallen Order. It wasn't my style of a game. I'm not a puzzle guy, and I felt like Fallen Order was like 80% puzzles and 10% story, and then 10% let me see how many ponchos I can find. So, I wasn't like super into it, but because it is Star Wars and I did kind of grow to love a lot of the cutscenes and things in it, I do want to, pick it up. So I'm looking forward to that. And you mentioned Bespin Bulletin.
Yeah.
I just got to say this. They have become like one of the go-to sources, and it's incredible.
Grinding.
And this is just recent.
Absolutely
I know.
grinding.
So it's just incredible the things that they are finding out, their sources, their intel, if you will, because sometimes I feel like these things are like lock and key type things, and yet Bespin Bulletin keeps reporting them. So kudos to them. But then, you mentioned Knights of the Republic. I think I'm just looking forward to it. Hopefully by the time it releases, I can afford a PlayStation 5.
There you go.
I kind of have a rule. I don't get a new game system until they flat out just don't sell the games anymore on the shelves. So maybe we'll shell out a little bit there. But no, the one I'm most excited about is Lego Star Wars. Because man,
it's a lot of fun.
I love Legos in general. I mean, I love playing with Legos. I think that's very therapeutic. And I find a lot of therapy both in Star Wars and in Legos and also in video games. So why not just combine all three and, give me the best of all three of those worlds? And I'm just excited to be able to do a lot of stuff. I'm hoping there's a lot of good DLC with that game.
Yeah.
I remember the second Lego Star Wars game, you could unlock Lego Indiana Jones because it was a tease for the first Indiana Jones Lego game. And either way, I hope that they kind of do that again, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it.
And there's all kind of good things going on in the gaming world for Star Wars fans. And don't forget Star Wars Hunters. I feel like that's more so of a casual kind of gamer thing coming out soon. And Fallen Order sequel, we know that's kind of geared toward gamers, and really everybody's got something from this, so that's exciting. I'm glad that we're kind of branching out and we're starting to get some different things pumping out here in the video game stuff. But you let us know, listeners, what do you think of the video game news that we've got? Okay, let's now transition into television news. Now, earlier kind of this week, I thought that this was just rumor, but we've kind of got some doubling down action going on with this next one. And again, this is in the television world. The Direct was reporting that Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett is written by Dave Filoni, and today, Star Wars Newsnet has confirmed that he did in fact co-wrote that episode with Jon Favreau. Something to keep in mind, though, that I want to mention real quickly is don't forget that it was also reported a few months back that Dave Filoni was directing an episode. I kind of feel like it's just natural right now to just pass this to DJ and ask you, since Dave Filoni is co-writing Chapter 6, can we expect Dave Filoni to direct Chapter 6?
I don't see why not. I mean, look, this guy knows Boba Fett just about as well as anybody can. No doubt he's had the opportunity to meet most, if not every individual who's portrayed Boba Fett. He's worked directly with Tamara Morrison and Daniel Logan. So it makes sense to me that he would write and direct in this episode. And, it's been reported he's going to direct. It makes sense that he would direct the one he wrote. I mean, he's not Jon Favreau, not yet. He has the potential to be Jon Favreau. I'll throw that out there. I think he's that good. But in the very near future, we're going to see, I think, him direct an episode of the Book of Boba Fett. I would hope it'd be the one he'd write. And it makes sense. Everybody's doubling down on it. Everybody knows, hey, that in Filoni we trust thing is very, very evident in the fan base. So it makes sense that that'd be the case. Now, with that being, said, I'm kind of thinking that we're about to get some Clone Wars and maybe even some Bad Batch and Rebels tie-ins because of that. So
yeah, and that's another thing that I saw pop up on Twitter and just everywhere. And really, the go-to that I've seen a lot of people say is, because Dave Filoni's writing this is when we can probably expect, if there's an appearance from this guy, Cad Bane. That's the number one
Yeah, I've
that
seen
I
that
saw.
everywhere.
Now, would I love it? Yes, I would absolutely love it. But the more that we go into this Book of Boba Fett show, I'm really starting to think that we're not going in that direction. I don't know if that's me
I
being
disagree.
negative, but okay. What do you think?
No, I really think, well, after last week's episode, I was, going into last week's episode, I was thinking, now there's no way we're going to be doing all these bounty hunter stuff because they put so much emphasis on these Tusken Raiders.
Sure.
I wanted to see more bounty hunter crime lord stuff last week, but we didn't get it. And now 6 days removed, I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? Thinking about these huts showing up, and, if you're here for no spoilers, you just got one. But, with the hut showing up and Black Chrysanthemum and just some tie-ins that I didn't think would ever happen. I really genuinely think, we're going that direction. We're going to see, I really think we're going to see Cad Bane. Now, I'm not sure because I don't want to get the expectations too high. I'm looking at Rural Farm Boy, which, by the way, he's in the chat. What's up, buddy? And so, I don't think that I want my expectations to be so high, but I do really, really want Cad Bane to be showing up in the Book of Boba Fett. And, I also want other people to show up in Book of Boba Fett, but Cad Bane, kind of makes the most sense. And,
and I certainly agree. I would love. I can't stress that enough. If we saw Cad Bane show up, and I'm rooting for it. I want to see it. Maybe I'm just internally setting it to where I can't be disappointed. Here, Spider-Man No Way Home, slight spoiler, the line that Zendaya's character says, you can't be disappointed if you expect disappointment or something like that. That's kind of what I'm going for here.
That's a good motto in certain cases, and I think it applies to fan bases like this on a very regular basis for sure. Yeah. All right. But I still hope to see something good out of it. And I really want, things like that. But, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be, twisted over it. I'm sure whatever they deliver, I will be floored by because I know, man, it's just going to be good stuff. Good soup. All
right. Well, listen, it's great news that Dave Filoni's writing another episode yet again. He's the Padawan to George Lucas's master. So that it's always good things whenever we hear Filoni's involvement. So you let us know, though, listener, what you think of Filoni writing an episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and tell us if you are thrilled as us. Okay, next and final news piece, and again, it is also a television news piece, and it's a bummer, but it's, again, shout out to Bespin Bulletin because it's a Bespin Bulletin exclusive. Bespin Bulletin is exclusively reporting that The Mandalorian Season 3 has postponed filming due to a rise in COVID cases in Los Angeles. A timeline of returning to filming has not been set. Now, obviously, first reaction that I had when I saw this was I was super bummed. I think that was the text message that I sent DJ was at the very end of it. I said, bummed, period. Like, I'm very much anxious and ready to see The Mandalorian come back because I know for some reason, I know what the reason is. It's Grogu. People go crazy for The Mandalorian, and I love whenever the world around us is going crazy for Star Wars, so I'm dying and itching to see Season 3 soon. However, inside this article, Bespin Bulletin kind of made it clear that we shouldn't expect this to impact the release date at all, because if we think about it, the Book of Boba Fett wrapped filming in June, so we still got plenty of months before June, so I still think we're going to get The Mandalorian Season 3 when expected, but it is still a bummer nonetheless. But I also want to say, do the thing that's smart and stay healthy to where you can finish the project. Don't try to rush it and jeopardize everybody's safety and health just to please me. Like, that's not important. I wanted to throw that out there too. Don't think that I care more so about just getting the thing. DJ, what did you think?
I mean, it's certainly kind of a dent in the helmet, so to speak, because you don't want to hear about delays of any kind. It doesn't, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter if it's COVID or not. You just don't want to hear about delays. But when the safety and health of individuals is on the line, look, this is no different than, Harrison Ford breaking his leg during the Force Awakens shooting. It's take a break, heal, and get back to work. And that's what they're going to do. And Lucasfilm is very good at that. And I think Disney as a corporation has proven, especially in this last couple of years, that they are really good at managing that. I mean, just look at Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi shut down, and it was delayed because of the shutdown, but man, it came back full force. And that movie ended up being one of the better Marvel movies of the year. I mean, in my opinion, it outperformed Eternals and Black Widow. So, that's just a snippet of what they can do when things like this happen. So, I'm not too worried about it. And you're right. They did get that done in June last year, and here we are all enjoying it. It's very easy to assume that, hey, maybe by October, November, December at the latest, we'll see Mando. And I don't have a problem with that. And I'm not really somebody who's that impatient in that respect. I can be very impatient, but when it comes to things like this, I'm just like, hey, get what needs to be done right, because we've seen how film and TV can be done wrong. Get it right. Take the time to reevaluate, reassess, and then knock it out of the park like they're going to. I mean, it's Mandalorian, for Force's sake. So it's going to be good stuff.
Yeah, that you said that perfectly. Now, I do want to address this chat that we got here from Avi. Appreciate you being here. The chat says this.
Thank you.
Maybe they will use this delay to make changes. And, honestly, that's something that I kind of thought of. Like, they can still be in their own home studios or doing whatever to just kind of make some minor adjustments here and there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe make some plot changes, make some just small details, and just make sure that the behind-the-scenes stuff that you don't see in camera is getting done. Like, they're still working on this. It's still in production. Yeah. It's just the actors and the set crew and everybody, they're just not on camera. That's really all that's going on here. So work on Mando 3 is certainly still occurring as we speak right now. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Fair enough, man. That's a genuine fair enough. Yeah.
That is the Star Wars news report for this week. So a lot of things going on, but you know what, folks? We know the number one thing going on right now, and that is the Book of Boba Fett. So you know what? The live streamers, you're here for one reason, and that is Chapter 3 predictions. So let's start to transition into those Chapter 3 predictions. So by the way, we read and we discuss all predictions for the Book of Boba Fett that you type in and send in the chat, as long as it's appropriate, obviously. We will read it and we'll discuss it, so drop them. If you have predictions when they come up and you want to share them, we would love to discuss it, so drop them in that chat. We can't wait to hear from you guys. Are you ready, DJ?
I was born ready.
Born ready. Okay, let's see if I can get ready, because you know how we do it here at Mando. We we type out. We keep record of these predictions.
Because if we don't keep record of these predictions, then we know y'all aren't going to, or you may, and hold us to it and be like, no, you said something wrong.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, Caleb needs to pull up our stuff and we can rehash and reassess and throw those predictions out there, so all of our lovely listeners and viewers can get in there and help us with some predictions.
Yeah.
And I want to echo what you said. Throw your predictions in there, man. It makes it so much more fun whenever you guys join in with us and do some crazy predictions.
Absolutely.
It's always a good time.
And we talk about how we don't usually like to toot our own horn, but last week,
you don't,
folks. Last week we were pretty on the money. So I kind of feel like, you know what, to entice you to continue to make these Tuesday things a thing, we got a pretty good record so far, folks. So I'm going to toot that horn
Book of
a little
Boba,
bit.
yeah.
Make sure you come back around every Tuesday. I can just go ahead and show these. I mean, I have it all on the same file just to show you guys what we were saying last week. I mean, DJ says the mayor is trying to have Boba killed and hire the Nightwind assassins. We'll see. I think we're close with that. Tusken Raiders will not accept Boba. This was one thing you didn't get right, though. The Tusken Raiders
got that totally wrong.
not accept Boba until Chapter 3, but we will begin to see it in Chapter 2. Boba will become the tribe leader for the Tuskens. Fennec and Boba interrogate the assassin, and someone is thrown into the pit. Nailed it. perfectly. We will meet the mayor of Mos Espa in Chapter 2, and nailed it perfectly. This next one, though, is questionable. Start to see Fennec Shan's plan to portray Boba Fett. We'll see. It might be something.
Yeah.
Boba will begin an alliance with Garsa Fwip. We've kind of discussed that one a little bit. We don't know about that one. And this last one that DJ had, the name of the sand creature will be revealed and become Boba's tribe name. So maybe you weren't as on the money as I remember.
I was off. I mean, the only thing that I said that even became remotely true was when you said something about the Tuskens, and then I was like, what if the Tusken Raiders ride speeders? And then it happened. I mean, I wasn't even like a pre-thought prediction. That was off the cuff during the show.
That was great.
Look, I take that as a win.
Yeah,
that's a win for me.
That should be thrown in here, and that was incredible because nobody could have seen that coming, but I just full-on false advertised on that.
Hey, false advertising, that's what people love. People love false advertising.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Okay, well, look at my list, though. Look at this list from last week from me. Number 1, Boba is accepted as part of the Tusken Raider tribe and completes a mission for them. Number 2, Boba Fett makes his way to Tashi Station. Number 3, Fennec brings the assassin back to the palace, tied up for interrogation. Number 4, Boba and Fennec go to confront the mayor. Was I wrong?
Not one. No, I don't think you're wrong. I remember like last Thursday as we were just kind of going through everything. I was like, "How did you get all these right?" I just couldn't. I was, as my dad would say, bum-fuzzled by this. I was absolutely, you got the plug. He's over here getting source material from people, and he's just keeping it a secret from everybody. That's where we're at now.
Yeah.
Just keeping secrets over there.
He
knows the whole plot to the whole Book of Boba Fett. That's what we're trying to tell everybody.
Absolutely. I am that important that Lucasfilm will give me that information.
Yes, sir.
Clearly a joke, folks. Okay, let's get into Chapter 3 predictions. I feel like DJ, you went first last week, so I feel like it is only necessary that I go first. And I do want to throw a disclaimer out there, though. I was telling DJ before we went live, last week I was extremely confident when I made these predictions. This week, not so much, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm kind of just... Some things I can see easily. Some things I kind of feel like are a little bit of a stretch, though. But I'll let you, our viewers, be the judge of that. So my first one here, first prediction for Chapter 3. Boba conversates with Garsa Fwip following the Hutt arrival to understand where she stands on this entire kind of crime lord power trip situation that we got going on. So we're going to pick up, not necessarily the opening scene of the chapter, but I mentioned it in our spoiler discussion that Boba and Fennec walk straight back into the sanctuary after the Hutts go away. I would expect that we're going to see maybe that conversation that transpires. So that's why I put it as my first prediction, that Boba conversates with Garsa Fwip following the Hutt arrival to understand where she stands. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think you're totally wrong.
Oh, okay.
And not to totally blow the ego here, but the next thing we see after they walk back into the sanctuary is a fade to black and then a fade into Boba in his Bactapod.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that we've called it the flashback to tank a couple times, but at the same time, there's a moment where, yes, they do walk back into the sanctuary, but it becomes a bit of a storytelling hiccup if they go back into the sanctuary, because the next thing we see is him in the Bactapod.
Sure.
So I'm not saying they don't talk to Garsa Fwip. I hope they do. Well, but I don't think it's going to be that quick or that immediate.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but the image of the Bactapod is the same exact image of the Bactapod from Chapter 1.
Well, it definitely is, but like it's just odd. It's odd to fade out and then go back in time just to go back in time.
That's certainly fair.
And also with the flashbacks, they always do this weird fade to green kind of thing with the transitions.
It's kind of like fuzzy.
Yeah, it's like TV fuzz is what it reminds me of. So I don't even know TV fuzz even exists anymore. Is that even a thing on TV?
I don't think it is.
Anyway, I can't tell you the last time I saw TV fuzz, and I was like, that's weird. But anyway, That's what they typically do for a flashback. So it's just weird to go back in time
Sure.
go back in time to me.
Okay.
I'm not, like I said, not saying they don't talk to Garza,
Yeah.
but I just don't think that it's going to happen the way you say it's going to happen this time.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I like it. I like your rebuttal. DJ, what's your number one prediction?
I don't think you're going to agree with me on this, although I feel sort of confident about it, and I'll kind of elaborate some. The Tusken Raider camp that Boba is with is going to be wiped out in this chapter. I think they're going to be killed. And reason number one for that is they've been tugging at our hearts, and it's all about to crash down. There needs to be a reason for Boba to want to go back to his armor. And I think that the Tuskens being wiped out will be the perfect way to do that. Storytelling wise, it makes a lot of sense because I don't think they really want to stay in the past the whole series. You know, we're not really halfway through it, but we're about a third, maybe more than that. We're like a third of the way through this series. So it makes sense to kind of up the ante a little bit. And I think that will kind of cause Boba to really deal with a lot of trauma. And let's face it, trauma creates drama and therefore views. So
yeah.
I think we'll get something like that in this episode.
Okay. I honestly didn't know how to handle this one. This is one of those things that I actually typed out in my notes that I wanted some more time to think on, but I never really got that time to think on it. But in my notes, I'm just going to read this, and you'll see some connections here with what you just said. In my notes, I've got the Spider Gang. What am I talking about? The Speeder Gang attempts to get revenge on Boba and the Tuskens, because we've got that shot in the trailer of them riding on speeders that we haven't seen yet.
You know what?
Leading to the Tusken leader being killed, and then Boba is then at this point ready to return to begin his journey back to the armor. So that, my friend, matches perfectly with what you said there. So I don't think I disagree with you as much as you thought.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that because after how in depth they went with their Tuskens last week, I bet a lot of people it's going to be like Frog Lady and the eggs, Grogu eating the eggs all over again if those Tuskens get wiped out. Because you don't want to see that happen, but for the sake of story, there's got to be a reason for Boba to give up that life, and I really think that that's a good way to move that story forward. It'll suck watching all those people die because, it's weird. Grown to love the Tusken Raiders, which is like something nobody would have said in 1977. But here we are in 2022 saying, hey, I love the Tusken Raiders. And I can see it happening, but actually to tease my next prediction before I give it back to you, I don't think it will I don't think it could potentially be those speeder bike gangs guys, okay. But I'll give the reason in a second. What's your next one, Caleb?
Here, I'll put non-speeder guys that wipe out. I'd put that like as a little thing underneath yours.
That'll become more evident in a moment.
Okay. I went ahead and typed out that number 2 there that I kind of mentioned just because it kind of riffed off of yours. So I'll go ahead and give my next one here, number 3. Boba invites those other crime bosses to his palace. I think that this might be the moment where we see that from the trailers. It's been something heavily involved in the trailers. And this was me kind of going off of really my first prediction, where at this point I think Boba's going to start to try to figure out where everybody stands. And so I think in response of the Hutts arriving and trying to make their claim for Tatooine again, I think Boba might want to call in all of these other crime bosses and try to figure out, okay, what do you know? What can we do? How can we handle this situation? So I kind of see that little table and dining sequence could easily kind of be displayed in this chapter. What are your thoughts on that?
It's funny you say that. I don't have that as a prediction I wrote down, but I do remember thinking that last week. Now you say that. And I have to agree with you 100%. I think this is the episode where we get that, what prevents us all from killing you, and that was where
Boba Fett.
Exactly. But, I thought that would be the scene where the Sarlacc pit not Sarlacc pit, Rancor pit opened up. But after last week's episode, I don't really know if we're going to do any more Rancor pit stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have to say I totally agree with that. I think that this is in this episode, and I bet it's in the first 10 minutes of this episode.
Okay.
I really do. I think they're going to just off to the races on this one.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be really fun to watch because there's so many different characters there, and we could get another character cameo reveal like Black Chrysanthemum in the Huts. I mean, who knows what they'll do with that scene?
We could see Bosk just walk up to the table or something. Like, come on now. We already know that Trandoshans are in the scene.
I will jump up and down if that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, my newborn's not here yet, so I can still be a little bit loud at home right now. So, God willing, she gets here before this weekend. We'll see. But anyway, I will jump up and down in pure joy, and I might have to hit pause just to take a second to breathe, and just because that would be the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's it.
All right. Well, we're now ready for your number 2, sir.
Oh, you're right. I forgot it was my turn. Not gonna lie to you. Okay, here's the next thing, and I did tease it a second ago, but it's kind of a weird, like 3 different thing combo. So I'll just kind of read it all really quick. I think, like I said, I think the tribe's gonna get wiped out, and I love that you're dealing with the present day and I'm dealing with the past. Thus far in these predictions, I think that's great. I can't get over these flashbacks. They're just too cool to me. But I think Boba, as a result of the tribe being wiped out, I think he's going to leave and kind of just begin the search for his armor. I think that'll require a time jump a little bit from, Return of the Jedi era to Mandalorian era to a certain degree. But I'll even go as far as to say that within that, and this is kind of like a sub prediction to this.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if the villagers of Mos Pelgo were the ones to wipe out Boba's Tusken tribe. And that's why I say I'm not 100% sure about the biker gang. Now, the biker gang makes more sense because we've seen them in the trailers, but we did hear in Mandalorian season 2, chapter 9, that they've had problems with Tuskens, and they have a really hard time teaming up to take down the Krayt Dragon. So it's not too far out of the realm of possibility for someone like Cobb Vanth to show up. I mean, Timothy Oliphant was great as Cobb Vanth. He's a fan favorite at this point. So it would be really cool to bring him back for Book of Boba and get that tie in. And even if it's from a distance, he sees him like through some binocs or something, and he's wearing his armor. Boba's like, okay, that's Cobb Vanth. Now I got to try to get that armor back. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that whole, I call that kind of like a Back to the Future type of scenario where Marty's watching Marty. I don't think that we're going to watch Boba watch Mando. I don't know, but I still think it's a very, possible thing, but it is very far-fetched in comparison to your prediction about the bikers. Well, so I'm going to stick with it for now.
Yeah. I mean, I like it, and I could see the connections, and we've had reports of being told to view the Book of Boba Fett as Mando 2.5. So I mean,
exactly.
If they really want to pull at that string, there's an easy way to pull at that string.
I agree. 100%.
All right. Let's go to my number 4. And I'm trying to think of how I want to order this, because the final 2 predictions that I have are based on the flashbacks. Okay. This might be jumping the gun. See, this is where I'm starting to get completely uncomfortable. This might be a later chapter. This definitely might be a later chapter, but in here,
no one ever said you couldn't reuse a prediction.
Sure. In here, I put the flashback sequence includes Boba coming across Fennec Shand in the sand of Tatooine.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what? What if they just take a whole episode and focus on Fennec? People love Ming Na Wen. So that makes a ton of sense to see that. Kind of, we get to see like the Rick Famuyiwa stuff from chapter 2 of Mandalorian with Queel working on the ship with Mando, and then also the working on IG-11 from chapter 8, I think it was, or chapter 7. I can't remember now. either way, I would love to see something like that. I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
That'd be super cool.
Okay. I mean, and the reason why, and I know I mentioned this last week whenever I was doing predictions, I just feel like doing the whole Fennec thing is deserving of a lot of time, and that's my only concern, is throwing that in the predictions, as I feel like that would be a very substantial amount of the episode, to where my next prediction, and I'll share that later, but is even more far-fetched, but certainly something that I could see happening. That's my only concern with seeing it, but I do think if you really want to execute and make sure that everyone, if it's not clear already, if you want to make sure that the audience knows, okay, why have we been doing all of these flashbacks, there's your answer. If you want to lead it up to how Boba and Fennec's relationship develops, that would make total and absolute perfect sense, in my opinion.
I have to agree with you. And Rural Farm Boy, as always, being just awesome in the chat and reminding us there are spots we have yet to see from these, TV spots and trailers. So, part of that could very easily tie into Fennec's story, and seeing that brought back. I think that you're onto something with seeing Fennec in that storyline. I think you have a point that it may not be this episode, because it is so deserving of, honestly, it's deserving of its own episode. She is, at this point, she's a major player in Star Wars. Bad Batch, Mando, Book of Boba, that's 3 shows. That's huge. And it's live action to animation and there and back again, all that good stuff. So you could be right that it's not this chapter, but I still want to see that. I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be so cool to watch that. And I bet Ming-Na Wen is all over that kind of stuff, because, her and Tamara Morrison have been doing these interviews over the last few weeks, and she's talking about how she's a big believer in manifestation. And you believe it happens. Now, I don't personally subscribe to that, but I do like the thought of, let me do this. Let me believe this will happen. I like that she would say, I want this to take place. Let's make it happen. And taking that to Dave or John, and then just totally running with it, because I really think you're on to something major with that. And I really hope they do that with this series, man. I think it'd be really cool. Absolutely. Well, right, I guess I'll go ahead and jump into mine. It's a simple thing, but I think a time jump forward to the time of the Mandalorian and the flashback will happen in chapter 3. Just given that, like I said earlier, there's going to be these Tusken Raiders being wiped out. Boba's going to have a moment where he has to consider what to do with his life at this point. So I think that it's necessary, and it requires a jump forward. So I really do think that we're going to get even closer to present day Boba.
Yeah. So okay,
in this episode.
Just to make sure, you said time jump to time frame of Mandalorian will happen.
Yes.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to put it. I really think that it's so necessary for that to happen.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
This kind of connects to my next one.
I love it. That's great.
And
we don't plan this stuff out, y'all.
Again,
by the way,
this is why I feel so unconfident, because if this next thing happened, then it would definitely be a ton of stuff in one chapter. And I recognize that, folks. I'm not saying that it has to happen tomorrow. It's just something that I could see happening in this chapter. Okay, so here it is. Like you said, it kind of connects to your Mandalorian time frame here. Boba retrieves the Slave One from Jabba's palace. He watches Cobb Vanth from a distance, leaves Tatooine, the shot that we've seen the Slave One shooting across on the Tatooine sands, to follow Din Djarin, and this is the transition to a more focused present-day series for Chapter 4.
Dude, I'm blown away. I'm speechless, because you just reminded me of things we've missed in these daggum TV spots. Not missed, things we haven't revisited yet in the series. Boba has to have a reason to go back to the palace. Boba has to have a reason to fly Slave One. Those are 2 things we've seen in these trailers and TV spots.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perfect prediction.
Okay.
And it's very possible that this will happen. That'll happen in this next episode. I mean, very, very possible. That would be awesome.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know what else to say about it, because I I can't think of a better way to put where we could go next.
Yeah, and the only thing that I want to clarify too is when I say watches Cobb Vanth, I mean like literally from it, like you can just tell that it's them in Mos Pelgo,
Yes.
like a group of people, but it does not have to necessarily zoom in on Timothy Oliphant, new footage as Cobb Vanth. I'm not saying that it has to be that.
Reuse the footage.
But I think it could be something that us as fans and viewers that have seen The Mandalorian would easily be able to pick up on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a perfect. I don't even know how to put it. I think that's just the perfect way to bring all of these things together. And you know what? We could be like a step or two ahead of chapter 3. And because that's the crazy thing. We still have 4 more chapters, or no, 5 more chapters technically, because we hadn't even watched chapter 3 yet. So because we've got so many more chapters to go, I mean, we could be jumping way ahead, but I mean, these things are the things you're saying tonight, Caleb. I am totally signed up for. I mean, I think that is fantastic stuff. I don't know how else to put it. It's like you had the script and you're just
hey, we already said that, man. Lucasfilm has given it to me, guys.
It's true. It's very true. It's very, very true.
All right, DJ. You got another one?
This is my final one.
Okay.
And I love that, man. RFB coming in clutch this evening. He very much said something that I love, because this is actually my prediction. He said, also the blue speeder girl.
Yes.
AKA Sophie Thatcher. Mm-hmm. This is the episode. Man, she comes in.
This is a loaded chapter, folks. This is going to be a loaded chapter, potentially.
I mean, there are certain parts of this, that like I've said, that we could be a step or two ahead. Okay. But I definitively believe that Sophie Thatcher will show up in this episode. The Hutts have issued the threat. Boba has issued the threat back. It's only a matter of time. Now, Black Chrysanthemum being there kind of maybe wipes that away, because he seems to be the twins, guy to go, their go-to guy, bounty hunter. But Sophie Thatcher, who knows? She could be working with Garsa Fwip. She could just be out here, and she's got a robot arm. I mean, and it's red. I don't even recognize her because of the red arm. That's a TFA reference. So if you, I'm just looking forward to seeing her character, because she's so different. Other than her being just a brunette woman, that's about the only difference. I mean, the only thing that's similar to her and other women in Star Wars, but she just seems mysterious and mean, and like she can punch the mess out of somebody. And so I'm ready to see her. And I think this is the episode for sure. And Avi's back in here in the chat and says they're expecting a 45-minute episode. I think that this easily, the things we've discussed this evening, very much so could be a 45-minute episode for sure. What were you going to say, Kayla? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to agree. Like, I certainly hope that it's the 45-minute and potentially beyond. I mean, chapter 2 was 53 minutes?
53 minutes, yeah, in total with the credits and everything.
Yeah, and the things that we've laid out here tonight, like if this chapter is what I believe it to be, kind of a transition of, let's finalize why these flashback scenes have been so important to this story, and let's transition this to where chapter 4 and beyond are more so focused on this Hutt issue, Black Chrysanthemum, and that biker, that speeder girl, and all the different things that we have potentially brewing, the Garsa Fwip stuff going on in the present day. Let's start to transition and focus in on that story. But I don't know. That's just kind of where I see this story playing out. Yes, looking at this list, it is a massive potential episode. But who knows? Maybe they actually do it, and maybe they actually do a super long episode for once. But I do think it's possible to do a lot of this stuff in 45 minutes. So you might be onto something there,
I agree.
Avi.
I agree. I don't want this to become like. Here's the thing: if this was like a 20-episode series, like Arrow was, and I keep going back to Arrow because Arrow did those flashbacks for 5 seasons, and then they decided let's start doing flash forwards, and then it all tanked. But because they were doing all these flashbacks, y'all can tell I'm very passionate about Arrow screwing itself up. But those first couple of seasons, all those flashbacks with Oliver Queen's story. I mean, it's not a whole lot different than the Book of Boba Fett. I'm just gonna be real honest. It's not. It's very similar, and I think that's why I'm digging Book of Boba so much. But with that being the case, I really think that if this was a longer series, they would have more opportunities to do more and more. But I like we've been saying, this is enough time. I think we've thrown out enough stuff tonight that we very easily could see it tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow morning, our time, maybe it'd be like nighttime for some of our people who are watching.
Yeah.
Somebody, Avi just a second ago said 45-minute episode tonight. And I was like, tonight, where are you? I'm thinking, unless you just stay up late, maybe you do stay up late. I do not. I'm in bed early. But anyway, all that being said, no, that's kind of my final prediction. I think a lot of these things could happen. So I'm gonna hand it back over to you, man. So
okay.
you can take the wheel.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna do a rundown because I know we've had some folks that have come in here late, and we appreciate you being here. So again, subscribe if you have not done so. We do this every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Really, we're just speculating, honestly, but we like to type it out and come back to it and see how much we actually get correct or not. DJ's predictions. Let's run through these, and maybe while we do this, if there's something else that you feel the need to mention, let's go ahead and mention it too. DJ's number 1 here: the Tusken Raider camp is wiped out in this chapter. Number 2, Boba leaves and begins the search for his armor. Number 3, the villagers of Mos Pelgo wipe out the Tusken tribe. And I keep wanting to come back to that. While, yes, you kind of mentioned that might be far out there, that certainly connects easily and seamlessly to The Mandalorian. And it would even give Boba kind of like a hint of where to go once he's ready to search for his armor, and he would just happen to stumble upon it there after he's wanting to maybe get back at these people. Who knows? But you may be onto something. While yes, it might be out there, but I could see it easily happening. Number 4 here from DJ: time jump to the time frame of Mandalorian will happen in Chapter 3. I see a lot of similarities between DJ's and my list here. So let's go into my list. Number 1, Boba converses with Garsa Fwip following the Hutt arrival to understand kind of where she stands with all of this going on. It might not be, now that kind of DJ has talked to me about, just the bones of kind of going flashback, back to flashback, and just going kind of back and forth there. That might not be likely, but it is, I certainly think, likely that we do have a conversation with Garsa Fwip at some point in this chapter to see, where are you at? Because you knew all about these Hutts, and me as Boba, I had no clue that they were coming and that they were here. So I need to figure out how you're getting this information.
Maybe Fennec kept that information from him, and she knew it was coming. That would be, because I still think Fennec could. Fennec betray. If anything, we've written our own really cool Boba Fett episode tonight. But she could have been keeping that information from him because she is his confidant, and it did not pan out for him. He probably felt a little something. I don't know. He probably felt pissed. I don't know.
Man, you're just
go ahead.
You're big time wanting to see Fennec and Boba split.
Well, who wouldn't? It'd be the greatest breakup of all time. We didn't get to see Han and Leia break up, so let's the next best thing. We got to see Anakin and Padme break up, which I guess is okay, but I would much rather watch Fennec and Boba break up at this point, because
professional relationship to break up.
Yes, and I want someone to get shot at. It'd be awesome. It'd be absolutely incredible.
We'll see.
Boba versus Fennec. That'd be dope.
Yeah, it would be dope. Okay,
it'd be like Bounty Hunter Civil War is what it would be. Sorry, go on.
Well, I think there could be Bounty Hunter Civil War brewing up regardless, even if it's not Fennec, but
with Cad Bane, Black Chrysanthemum, Fennec.
Come on.
Bosk.
Golly.
Come on. It'd be awesome.
All right, my number 2 here. The Speeder Gang attempts to get revenge on Boba and the Tuskens. The Tusken leader is killed, and Boba is ready to return to his armor. No, and again, I think that's something that we've kind of agree with there, that kind of shares similarities. Number 3, Boba invites other crime bosses to the palace for a sit-down meal to see where they stand. So again, that kind of Godfather shot that that's the biggest thing that we've gotten from trailers. So in my mind, I don't foresee them holding that scene back and waiting later until late in the season. So I feel like it'd be natural to see it tonight or tomorrow, depending on where you're at. Number 4, flashback sequence includes Boba coming across Fennec Shan on the sands of Tatooine. Again, just to reiterate, I feel like that would give validity to all of these flashback scenes for the people that have been like, why are we doing so much flashbacks? There's your reason, because it's going to incorporate that relationship that those two clearly have developed. And then my number 5, really something that I just think would be super cool. This is by far probably of my list and probably of this prediction process that we've been doing so far, the one that I feel the least confident in. Boba retrieves the Slave One from Jabba's palace, watches Cobb Vanth from a distance, and leaves Tatooine to follow Din Djarin, and this transitions the series to be more focused on present-day events in Chapter 4 and beyond. There's our list, ladies and gentlemen. That is a heavy list.
A heavy list.
As always, we will revisit it. We will revisit this. What's up?
We both said it's a heavy list at the exact same time.
I didn't hear it.
That's the third week in a row that's happened. That's the third time that's happened since we've been running down Book of Boba. Sorry.
Hey,
that is our list, though.
It
is
absolutely.
It's a good list.
Yeah, it is.
The Force works in mysterious ways.
Yes,
it really
does. Yes, it does. Now, we will revisit this as always, like we always do. I do want to plug this in, but I do have one other thing that we're going to mention here in a second, but one plug real quickly. Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be doing our spoiler discussion of Chapter 3, so make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel to join that discussion live. And really, that's the only plug that I want to mention, and we appreciate you being here, but here's the thing that I wanted to talk about. This is off the Chapter 3 prediction. Like, I'm not typing this in for Chapter 3, but this was just a cool thought that came across my mind as me internally as the viewer is trying to connect how they're going to incorporate the importance of these flashbacks to the present day stuff. So this is more so like an in-game thing that I've been formulating in my mind to see if it's possible. Boba, there's this war that's brewing. Mm-hmm. And this contradicts, something that we talked about earlier in our Chapter 3 predictions. But something that I feel like would give validity to the flashbacks as well is that to help with this war, Boba rallies his Tusken Raider friends to help him in this fight that we see in the final episode or final 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. We see Gaffy 6 flying. We see just brutality of all of these Tusken Raiders and the warriors and Boba and Fennec leading them. I feel like that might be something this series is heading toward, and I feel like that would execute and bring joy from both plot lines that we've been getting, flashbacks and present day. What do you think? There's just something that I've been feeling compelled to throw out there.
I don't even know. I mean, that would be incredible. I don't even. It's so out there that it's so cool. I don't even know, like, if it becomes like this in-game type of war where Boba's leading the charge with a bunch of Tusken Raiders. Goodness. I mean, just Banthas riding into battle, speeder bikes. And it's just
stick comes
Slave
flying.
One come.
Assemble!
Banthas. I don't even know.
Like a bantha.
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
we all charge in.
Oh man, I just blew out somebody's ears. I know I did. No, that would be awesome. Absolutely, that would be awesome. And okay, let's say that Boba goes through some like crazy purification type of process where like he sheds the Boba that we've always known. Mm-hmm. And then for the sake of a nice little tie-in to the past, we get the white Boba armor and like he just goes like full white knight. How awesome would that be? Man, I'm dreaming with that one. I know that's not going to happen, but man, I'm just dreaming. And look, we've got a latecomer to our chat. Michelle, agree completely with an all-out Tusken army helping Boba. I mean, who wouldn't agree with that?
That would be so cool, guys.
goodness, Caleb. How have you been sitting on that This is what you get. This is what I get. You don't get. You didn't talk to me all weekend, and you come out
Look,
with. I'm just
all weekend I was
messing with
brewing
you.
and formulating that idea.
Listen, and that is a weekend's worth of work that was well done. That's what that is. Stick a fork in it. It's fantastic. It's done.
All right.
That's good soup. I love
Good
that.
soup. Good soup. All right, guys.
Great.
We will do this again always on, next Tuesday. We'll do more predictions. But before that, again, I've already mentioned it, but one last time, Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, come back and join us for a spoiler discussion of the Book of Boba Fett. I appreciate you so much being here. It's so fun getting you guys on the show through that live chat feature. That's really the reason why Mando Talk originally started as a podcast, but kind of transitioned into getting YouTube active, because I wanted to hear more so from you guys. You guys are just as much, if not more so important than myself or DJ. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. DJ, any final thoughts you would like to let our viewers know before we head into Chapter 3 of the Book of Boba Fett?
Speak freely, ride the bantha, and I have no idea what's coming next. I don't even know. I look like the most non-confident bounty hunter of all time right now.
There you go. Hey,
I'm just looking forward to it all. It's good
yeah,
stuff.
I'm looking forward to it
y'all
too.
Just hit us up on Twitter, at Rebels Come Text and at Mando Talk. Let's talk. I'm ready to talk about as early as 7 a.m. on this stuff. So come on with it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, guys. We hope that you have a great evening, a great morning, and a great day of Chapter 3 of the Book of Boba Fett. And again, we will be here to discuss it with you on Thursday. And until then, as always, we have spoken.